still think about it often. How we stood on the edge of extinction.
The sound of screams jolted me awake in my tent. 6 fallen. 3 shots. No survivors.
We make so many mistakes along the way. You were amazing out there.
You're the
Honestly,
only
nothing
one.
quite like what you've managed to do.
Help us, please! I used to be one of
What are you
them.
gonna do now,
I remember
Tight
dying.
No matter what the Vanguard says, I'm not going to let down the feeling.
I have to see this
Imagine not having the
gently
light,
in
so
his
Nell
careful
could
purpose, almost
radio
loving.
and see the
Caught up in something that you don't understand. Strength to finally move on.
Give me back the light. I swear I'll save us all.
Alraaks, wake up, you rusting bucket of bolts. I happen to know giant servitors with attitude problems inside and out, and I know for a fact that you don't sleep. I need you to play code F11SH3.
Guardian, you're still alive. I had hoped that the fallen outside would have torn your bones from your flesh and came to save me from your poor attempts at welding me to the interior wall.
That's real funny, considering that engineering has kept you in place. Now please, play the code.
One day, when my house returns to wrest me from this poorly crafted iron tomb and repair whatever damage you did rooting in my circuits, I will reduce you to smolder, and they will herald me as a prime servitor once.
You gotta take out the mantle shit. Last time I saw your house's banners must have been years ago when they flooded the lower section. This is a new tribe I haven't seen before. They're attacking more frequently, and they almost finally got me outside. Now please, just play the code.
Insubordinate, your time is coming. Soon your walls will be overrun by the sharp blades of
You've been long forgotten, and I pulled out any of the important bits that make you lethal or useful. You're more likely to wind up as scrap parts, holding pieces of an aging fallen ketch together than ever becoming a prime servitor again.
Why do you leave my core intact? Why do you torment me with the sentience?
I've been here too long. It's always cold and dark. I don't remember what the sun looks like, as it always looms in that horizon, but never comes above it. I never get hungry, nor thirsty, and the endless fallen are a colossal pain in my ass. There's something not right about this place. I kept you sentient because even if you're threatening to kill me, you're the only thing keeping me sane down here.
I'll coat these holes in your entrails!
I bet you will. How long have I been here, Alraaks? I know you got it mapped out.
Accessing log. 64,000 days.
Right. Yeah. Right. It can't have been that long. Thanks, Alraaks. Home sweet home. And you. Oh, you. Shinny school chair I found in a supply closet are probably the most beautiful thing I've seen all day. Second only to you. Yes, and... Wait. Is that?
Sunshine. I think you dropped this.
hell was that? Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. My head. The hell happened? Feels like I just got hit with a neuralizer.
You were knocked unconscious.
Ah, fuck!
Relax. I am an ally.
Did you do all this? You saved me, and there's another person down here.
Yes. While you were unconscious, you kept muttering incoherently about not being good enough to animate a fight scene.
Yeah, but I visualized it pretty good. It was all... and then... God, what I had in my head would have been sick.
Sure. I require your help. I have a ship. I have a ship that we can use to escape this place. I need your help getting it off the ground. There is a fuel pump at the top of a colony ship that I require.
You've seen those things, right? A fuel pump for a ship like that has to weigh as much as a minivan. How the hell you plan on doing that?
I'm really strong.
Ah! It don't work like that. Huh? Either way, I've been relaxing here for a long time, but looks like my luck just ran out. Got a creeping tingle on my spine. It's like something's watching me. Just enough to make sure I don't get comfortable.
Follow me. I have an idea.
Now, this is probably really idiotic, but you're the only thing that's changed around here in a long time. So what the hell? I'll roll those dice. Let's go.
There lies the chance to be free.
Up there, huh? You know, just because your armor sucks and I think your head's been dented and it might still be a bit soft, just for suggesting that, I'm gonna call you Squishy. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
It could be your only escape from this place.
Well, those things look a lot bigger when you're actively paying attention to them. Not to mention, they're surrounded by water. Man, I get winded going up a flight of stairs. More likely to die on the way up. I just don't know if I got that in me.
Are you saying that you aren't going to try?
Nah, I'll go. It's better than rotting away down here. Come on, let's set up a camp. Maybe there's some around here we can burn. I prefer to be warm one last time before I attempt a suicide mission. Why can't I ever go somewhere nice?
Fine. But we shouldn't linger. They will find us.
Yeah, even in that gear you seem to do pretty well. Speaking of which, I used to have gear just like that. There's something about it that reminds me of a story. I can't for the life of me remember how it went. Huh. Oh, wait. I remember. In Destiny, achieving mastery is a long and arduous journey. A personal vendetta that each and every player must inevitably walk along the path as they embrace the relentless pursuit of excellence. A forge in which only the most resilient of guardians are capable of recasting themselves of purer iron, taking up the mantle of both the smith and the sword in order to be reborn in the flames of unrelenting fury and overwhelming resolve. It is a difficult trail to blaze, one that not many dare to tread. But as it is written, those that endure become capable individuals that realize within themselves that with the scars comes strength, that with the knockbacks comes knowledge, and with pain inevitably comes power, revealing the way forward as you make that final push into a fully realized guardian, capable of devastation at a nigh apocalyptic level. Throughout my journey in Destiny, there has been no challenge more complex, no challenge more bone-breaking than that of the White Gear Olo Flawless, where I attempt to reinvent the meaning of the word agony by stripping away all of my build crafting and the power that comes with that by transmogging myself from an absolute Adonis of mankind into the perfect Dirty Vagrant in order to descend into the dark depths of a Destiny dungeon on my own. A raid light activity carefully curated for 3 players, where the twisted machinations of Uncle Bungie's mind lurk around every corner, just waiting to pounce on the opportunity to become your 13th reason why I do got this dungeon. So join me, Hamarai, as we don our white gear once again, as we tackle one of the hardest dungeons to solo flawless, as we pose the question, can you beat duality with only white gear? Our story begins with Emperor Callus, a towering elderly ninja turtle with more wrinkles and folds than my scrotum on a hot day, as he parks the world's largest Dollar General on top of the moon. And it's up to me and my armor made of fucking cardboard and Elmer's glue to non-consensually enter the dreamscape to uncover the source of his wet dreams. Luckily for me, the absolute turd cutter forgot rule number 1 of mental warfare and left a 1-to-1 effigy of himself for me to climb inside him and enact my will in life. They say dress for the job you want, not the job you have, which is why whenever we dive headfirst into white gear, I put on my sex god outfit with these very specific colors. This armor and its very existence may be a defiant abomination to God's creation, but hot damn, does it fuck! I then reacquaint myself with the tools of an artist. First up, we have the Kvostov, best-in-class auto rifle with a storied legacy. Nazradin, the sword, the slayer of demons and taker of Taken. And finally, the stay-away grenade launcher, destroyer of my goddamn retinas when I point blank a fool at 3 a.m. What is this shit? I did this so many times. I then equipped the last city shell since everyone and their mother in the last white gear said my ghost was exotic, and that because of that fact the challenge was failed due to me being a beta cuck. But with the tools of the trade fully equipped, it was time to conspirate with my co-conspirator Eris Morn, or as she is better known with her hive name translated into proper English, Moth Mommy, calibrator of my synapse with the psych ward grippy socks. When I load in, I take pot shots at the bell at the other end of the room. Set up, come on, baby, come on, and then blitz through the first area. The Cabal had no idea what hit them. With my gear being leveled due to the new seasonal caps, I hit like a freight train. Despite my stats being lower than a Trials player's self-esteem, I am a menace. I'm as dangerous as a Minecraft YouTuber living next to a preschool. Strand, being a tool of a more civilized age, allowing me to zipline across the stratosphere in Mach 8 is an ethereal experience. I leave devastation in my wake as we descend upon Galran's boss room. As a professional shotgun surgeon, my medical expertise led me to conclude that Galran is a colossal kick in the dick. Being a beacon of the Cabal army, an honest and true warrior cut from a different cloth, a meat cannon of absolute epic proportions, good gravy, that's a big boy, meant that they may be thinking, with me praising Galran, it's because he hit me with the ancient beat my ass ninjutsu, vacating my soul from my corporeal form. But nah, in true Rylee fashion, even though I was expertly diving and weaving through the battlefield, I died because I neglected the timer about as hard as I do my upload schedule.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
While I'd enjoy suffering another colonoscopy from the girth, there was more pressing matter to attend to before we returned to that Thunderdome. As you see my Hot Wheels disciples, it was time for holy mother of fuck me, that's the Guardian games. Normally this is where I attempt to gain glory in something I hold even more dear than the sacred act of the white gear Olo Flawless, to once again take up the only true achievement that matters in Destiny, a place where salty grippers couldn't take my raid belt and get the world record Destiny event speedrun by purchasing the armor for Bright Dust and immediately never touching the event again. But this really goes to show you how much this challenge was less of a short story and more of an odyssey spanning months of learning to improvise, adapt, spanning months. Shit broke me. This might have been one of the toughest things I've done in Destiny yet. And I'll reference it again. I know Grenade Shadow Dive. Everyone always thinks I'm crazy when I say. In my attempt to supercharge my killing potential, I attempt to wrangle my last remaining neuron and headed into the seasonal mod list. But upon rewatching this footage, years of my life were immediately stolen via a blast from the past, as the artifact is from Season of Defiance. At this point, this was long enough ago to put this video in a museum as a historical artifact. This video is so old old it remembers when Xur was generous. A blockbuster. I eyeball the perks with about as much care as I do whenever I'm reading terms and conditions, and rocket my way to Galron at an impressive speed. Now the tactic was simple for his encounter. Strand being the newest subclass added into Destiny meant that it had the balance of IKEA furniture. The super is devastating, capable of turning the entire arena into a sticky, wet paste. And with the grappling hook, I had a lot more wiggle room, meaning that if I once again revert back to the Neanderthal that I am, and forgot that the timer existed in the Nightmare Realm, I may just be able to recover. Now this encounter is basically a flashback to the I solo flawless every dungeon, so you don't have to episode of the Rylee Reloaded anime. But instead of having a god killer's arsenal, I'm near 1-to-1 with a Destiny player, conversing with a woman. Enthusiastic, but woefully under-equipped. I would do the encounter as normal until I hit the side sections, where I would engage in the most advanced form of diplomacy, as I busted out the Void Sniper Rifle to double-tap the Cabal's flamethrower tanks. Despite being in white gear, Uncle Bungie thankfully made this sniper hit harder than a wet fart, and did some work on the teleport mechanics, because when this dungeon came out, using the bells was about as predictable as using the Wabba Jack.
Do you hear me?
But with the shades of Galron returned to eternal slumber, it was time to see the damage I could unleash upon what I can only assume is a reflection of what she sees when I'm standing at the edge of the bed. But there's only enough room for one Redditor in this Thunderdome. I tug at the threads of the universe, weaving them into a symphony of pain as I lash out at Galron with a needle storm, briefly landing my bright pink neon moon boots under the ground just to continue my assault with rapid quick strikes from that of the humble Nazradine. Despite the Vanguard's budget cuts via my equipment being about as useful as a Warlock on Dawnblade, this damage phase ended with some impressive damage, adorning his flesh with enough cuts to knock out a fifth of his health bar. It was here that I realized that this may indeed be possible, and that I could reasonably accomplish this at a good rate. If only I knew. Dear God, if only I knew. Upon my next descent into the Nightmare Realm, when I was gathering up my final banner, I returned balance to the world by returning to the fucking egg that as I tried to grapple a Cabal Phalanx with a mighty slug launcher, basically head on, all while wearing white gear crafted from only the finest materials, stability that rivals Bungie servers. Well, they took that personally and implanted about 3 slugs directly into my sternum, folding me like a fucking blanket. Now I titled this next attempt Tougher Than I Thought, but you know your boy, I like to crank up the oven to rise like dough. In Papa Rye's kitchen, every kernel's gotta pop. So I strapped into my brightly colored ornate paper mache and descended once again into the mindscape. The dungeon goes about how you'd expect, as this absolute beacon of the Warlock class stomps the shit out of those turtles until I get hit from the thunder from down under as Galron pulls up out of nowhere to throw an elbow from top rope. I was in the middle of running away from a legion of Cabal when Galron decided to be a Vex prediction engine and just fucking delete me from the game. Look at this shit. Holy fuck. You tell me that this man didn't have insider knowledge. He knew where I was going. He knew where I was. Alright, baby. We got a dungeon to conquer. Gotta crack the knuckles a little bit. I know I said awful things about your duality, but you know how it is. Can't have a barbecue without a little roast. I once again take this dungeon to Pound Town until I enter the Nightmare Realm, where having the resilience of your average Destiny YouTuber means that I can barely take a hit with how my organs fucking exploding. They beat the ever-loving fuck out of me the moment I stepped into the Nightmare Realm, and in a moment of weakness, I fumbled the damage on the Bellkeepers. I should have just strapped into my clown shoes right there, but sadly, I was already wearing this white gear. To solidify my true clown nature, I panic throw off a needle storm and this one Cabal decides to use the Crucible shotgun method to nail me out of the sky. You just tell me how whenever I use a shotgun, I can point blank a fool for the equivalent damage as a slap from grandma, but everyone else got that Fell Winters with the extended barrel. With his death, I knew this was gonna be an arduous journey. And again, oh, if I only knew. Now for those of you that are learned, you would know that duality by itself is the equivalent of sticking a pen in your urethra. In my regular solo flawless video before they ruined the game by making it so enemies could no longer turn your gray matter into modern art on the wall due to physics death, honestly one of the worst decisions in this game. What is this cringe cuddle-fest shit? We die on impact here. My bones! But in that video, your boy went from rags to riches as I supercharged my Callus mini tool from level 20 to around level 150. Now if that number jump doesn't tell you how this dungeon went when I was in good gear, then nothing will. And that was before I decided to amp this dungeon up to the next level by undertaking one of the worst challenges in this game. In a pure-blooded Hot Wheels man maneuver, I decided to take an experience I would never forget and transmog it into an experience I'd immediately regret as I don my white gear. To undertake a White Gear challenge requires levels of masculinity and masochism that are off the charts. One that very few Guardians have decided to take up the mantle and run. Ones that I would consider legends if they even attempted. This has me reminiscing about the people I've met along the way. I still remember Dosey back when I had like 9 viewers in this channel completely styling on me by taking my White Gear Witch Queen Legendary challenge and saying, "Get that beta shit out of here," and solo flawlessing as many missions as possible in only White Gear. White Gear is a sacred act due to the people that we have met and the adventures that we've had along the journey. And with that spirit and vigor, I tackled Gowron once again, doing everything I could with extreme perfection, using all the lessons I've learned from the solo flawlesses prior to all the White Gears of days past. Then Uncle Bungie decided it was time to stop being the type of uncle that gives you gifts and instead become the uncle that molests you. As after I sniped the Incendiaries from a distance and think the coast is clear for me to slippery slide inside, they instant transmission a Legionnaire directly into my fucking ribcage. This throws me off as I panic and I run into a wall. Now I finally get my bearing and overcome my controller turn mental illness and get absolutely dogged on by the Cabal in this room. This warbeast sees a prime opportunity to viciously maul me and I crumple under the pressure. With his death, there was another 45 minutes of my life that I ain't never getting back. I had a feeling that by the end of this challenge, I'd have to put another controller in the graveyard. I got them labeled. They literally say which challenge killed them. Before diving into the dungeon, once again, I had ran through my banner stock. Despite having tons of legendary shards, I've been trained in the art of being broke. Thankfully, my years of investment in playing this game meant that I had many legendary shards that most certainly wouldn't be deleted from the game. These challenges in Destiny have a way of giving me a severe lack of currency, but with my banners collected, it was time to once again into my very own personal hell. In Run 7, I go blade to blade with Gowron, much like the ancient samurai we clash, walking along the razor's edge as we enact our wills through our weapons. I deflect his blade, and in a magical counter, he unlocks the strongest skill tree in the violent subclass, that being domestic. This meat cannon hits me with enough force to knock my soul out of my body and straight up cartwheels my ass. It hurts. Now, as you may have learned during this exhibition displaying how many different ways Gowron can kick my ass, you'd understand that much like my boy Ekthar, Gowron can also kiss the hairiest parts of my ass. Despite the fact I can't bring myself to be mad at this absolute unit, I mean, just look at her, the skill on display from this duelist. Such power, such splendor, out here parrying me like Sekiro on crack cocaine, my boy. You don't even know how many runs are in between this. But since we are all professional Destiny players here on Papa Rye's Destiny Extravaganza, where only the best of the best go toe-to-toe with the possibility of a challenge run accidentally dealing enough psychic damage to lobotomize you on your 93rd run of Gowron's Arena, where every death feels like the equivalent of watching your soul get sucked out of you like a Harry Potter Dementor, I can only ask the question, what would you, as a fellow Destiny master, consider to be one of the worst ways to die in this game? Could it be the surprise vasectomy from the blade of Gowron as he hits you with the flying elbow as you're just trying to go about your business? Could it be getting sniped by a cross-map Fellwinter's Lie? Well, come, sit and let Papa Rye tell you a story. Nothing has ever had the power to demolish what remains of my fragile ego than sword-swiping an Incendiar off the map and getting cucked by the disability known as Warlock as you princess fairy float to your death. You can see the moment the light in my eyes just dies as I reflect on the choices I made that led me to this very moment. I then head to Neomuna to hang as low as my boy with the Magnum Dong because even though I'm packing strand, the only thing unraveling is my sanity. And it was about time I chromed the fuck up. So I went to the Puka Pond for some upgrades. Normally I leave build crafting to the weebs and rush in head first because mama didn't raise no bitch, but there's only so many trips to Flavortown you can take before your brain actively starts to rot, so I slipped on some aspects and fragments to improve my strand gameplay and returned to orbit to exact my revenge. On my 11th run, I panicked and got caught lacking as the entire Cabal army rolled up on me. I bounced around the room like a sporadic toddler, but in the middle of my manly retreat, a loyalist legionary decided to roll in like a Titanfall pilot and snipe me in the middle of his movement tech. Run 12 had me completely whiffing this grapple melee and proceeding to get obliterated as every shade of Gowron treat me to a double dicking of urban violence as they beat my ass like I owed them money. But in the next run, despite getting utterly destroyed, you know your boy doesn't quit. That's right, I got that dog in me. Gotta come back even harder. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That doesn't stop my retinas from getting burned out of my skull and getting viciously mauled by a pack of dogs. They're eating me! Even though I got that dog in me, there was not much I could do to stop actual dog dogs from ripping me apart, and with damaged pride, I decided to look at the seasonal mods for just something to apply some lubricant because this dungeon would not play nice. I eventually found out that there was a mod that allowed you to get heavy bricks to drop if you used void weapons, and thanks to the White Gear sniper rifle being the only weapon with some hair on its chest, I found a way to consistently add ammo to my sword. Now keep in mind, each one of these Galran runs are after deaths anywhere ranging from 14 minutes to an hour. In my regular duality run, where I went for the solo flawless, Galran was tough merely due to the amount of perfection you were required to hammer out. You needed to be on your toes for the entire time. One slip up meant that you were about to become more formally acquainted with the floor. Now in White Gear, you're ramping that up to 10 as you don armor with the resolve of a Twitter user. There are few things holding your spirit intact, but from what I remembered from my previous runs was that this dungeon doesn't get better after the boss. In fact, it actively gets worse, with Keitel being a beacon of agony. Keitel picked one of the scariest archetypes in the game for a Destiny player to face, that being woman, but thankfully, Papa Rye's Hammer of Justice is unisex. She beat my ass, man. I'm not even gonna leave it for later. I'm just gonna let you know right now, it does not get better. The nightmares, that's where I've been this whole time. Everybody's like, wait, are you good? You alive? No, I've been doing this shit. Now, this run has me slipping up due to the fatigue, and the only thing allowing me to keep piloting my meat suit being the caffeine regulating through my circulatory system. You see, I do all these challenges late at night, and I give 110%. You gotta go a little hard in the paint if you want to sink the basket. But it has the side effect of being scatterbrained, but hopeful as I once again neglect the timer and watch as hope and health leave my body. Galran and I have been dancing the old salsa of suffering for what feels like eons at this point, but I could tell that this is where your boy once again began to slip. The masculine glue that holds me together was hanging on by life support. There are times often I find myself in the quiet solitude of the 3 a.m. challenge binges, where the late hours of the night surround me, and doubt begins to set in. It questions my worth, challenges my abilities, and whispers tales of impending failure. In these moments, it's far too easy for me to feel lost, to wonder if the path that I've chosen is nothing but a fool's errand. Yet in my life, I've always found strength in pushing forward and reminding myself of who I am and what I'm capable of, which has often been enough to light the path through the darkest corners of uncertainty. Every stumble, every setback was a lesson, teaching me not of my inadequacies, but of how I can best navigate a lost soul through them. Embracing that relentless spirit didn't rid me of my doubts. Instead, it found itself becoming a compass, guiding me towards a version of myself that I could be proud of, a version that learned, experienced growth, and ultimately better became equipped to face these challenges and manifest stories that I would ultimately share with you. My way of basking in the highs, lows, and vulnerabilities as we smash our frontal cortex on the wall until it breaks against our resolve. But even with that mentality, there comes moments during these runs where I can't help but question the journey and whether or not the battles are worth the scars that they leave behind. You see, my friends, I failed this challenge. There was a glitch that you could use to cheese Galran by luring him off the edge, and then using Strand to grapple your way back up to the ridge. Now I will admit, your boy used this method only once, but the psychological damage was already done. If Mama Reloaded saw me playing like this, she would undoubtedly beat my ass for unleashing this disrespect upon our entire bloodline. Using this method immediately made it feel like not even a bleach enema would be enough to cleanse my body of this filth. Taking the easy way out on a challenge run is not a forklift certified move. Anybody can attempt a dungeon, but only few can do it with their balls and a vice grip. So with a heavy heart, and in an attempt to make sure my name is worth remembering, I eventually returned to do it right. So I painstakingly fought Galran with everything I had, maintaining perfection as I weaved death, and with enough persistence, Galran could do nothing but watch as the Hot Wheels man taught a life lesson of obedience and respect. But despite having the keys to success, the gameplay was much the same as all the previous times that you watched. I would need to achieve nigh omnipotence to pull it off. I tried for so long that the momentum and that the struggle I felt barely even registered as a victory when I finally did manage to beat Galran. But what did manage to creep its way through the fog and the 6 a.m. challenge was more agony, as all my hopes were ripped away when the wind was cut out of my sails, as I fell multiple times at the vault with hundreds of deaths in between. I fall off the map again. I swear to God, I'm gonna fuck. There was seemingly nothing nothing I could do to defeat the tide, and I knew that after the vault is where the real challenge begins, as Keitel was awaiting me on the other side of the encounter. A boss room with death lurking around every corner. You're basically taking the enemy density of Galrod, where snipers will fire upon you, where Cabal incendiaries will push you off the map, where Scions will launch you into the air, and the resilience of White Gear means death is almost certain, and Cabal Centurions lurk at the sides to whittle your health down at an impressive pace. I'm gonna backtrack back to the Scions. Holy shit, are they built different? They will even launch you out of cover, meaning you have a moment where you know it's all over before these turd smokers wombo combo you into an incendiary's get warlock jumped idiot off the map to rub salt in the wounds. After you fall after hours of maintaining perfection, you're back to experience Galrod and his omnipotence as he expertly unleashes his Ninjago on your ass. I did everything in my power to find ways to make this easier. Dear God, I even squinted really hard at the monitor for extra brain power. And it was here, on my final death in the vault, that Papa Rai did the unthinkable. And after days and damn near months of attempting the hardest challenge I've ever faced, I set down my white gear. I gave up.
White gear is sacred, but it does come with a certain solitude. The armor, despite its appearance and materials, I know, it's heavy.
I was tired. This was months worth of work just to fall flat on its face. And I put a lot of pride in what I do, and so many people were depending on me to figure it out. But when I fell at every attempt, I let resentment in my abilities turn into a place of low confidence. There's a lot of importance I placed on the gear, the armor that we wear.
The problem isn't your gear. It's that you walked away from a legacy you'd create if you kept going. I think that's where your trouble lies.
My man, that shit is made of cardboard. You honestly gonna tell me that when you look like your donkey ass just walked out of the thrift store, you're supposed to fight against a legion of Cabal? I could stub my toe in that shit and not explode. You know, maybe it's a good thing I gave up.
Strength comes from within. It matters not the tools you're given, but how you use them. Standing up for yourself and not giving up no matter the cost is more admirable than lying down and accepting defeat.
You're too optimistic. Can't believe I traded Alraaks for you. You know, it's hard, as cringe as it is to say, to believe in yourself when the world sees you through the gear you wear. The titles or achievements, it all seems to overshadow the person underneath.
As if those aren't a part of the person underneath. You know, this place, something is not right with it. As a way of distorting a reflection. Things are never as they seem, but even in a place as dark as this, there is something beautiful about it. In the way the water reflects the light, in the way the dawn lingers in the horizon. It's only a prison of yours, if you make it. It just as well might be a paradise to someone else.
I'm losing it. Feels like I'm falling through the cracks. This place is killing me. And I don't know peace. I don't know love. Losing my grip on tomorrow. Hell, I've even tried to change my attitude. But it doesn't matter when at the end of the day you still wake up in the same place.
Sounds to me like you're homesick for a place that doesn't exist anymore.
Maybe it never did. I'm gonna call it a night before we scale a colony ship to snag an ancient, probably rusted all the shit fuel pump that won't even get your bird off the ground. Night, Squishy. Don't step in a puddle of water. I don't want your gear to dissolve while I'm gone. Oh! Hey! One more thing. How you like that one, big boy?
Maybe this time is different. Maybe he will finally be free.
That's a long ass climb. I need a minute. You can't get thirsty in this shithole. You still get tired though. That's cruel. That's real cruel.
I'm sorry. There is no ship. My real goal was you. I came back. I came back for you.
Squishy. What's on the other side of that door?
Go through the door. Prepare yourself. You're here again, at the precipice of choices and their echoes.
The galaxy pools. This just gets stranger and stranger by the second. Why are all these corpses? Me? This KD does not bode well for your boy.
It's the nexus of fates, worlds colliding, and these are the remnants, echoes of my failures.
Failures? The hell are you saying?
Every journey that we've embarked upon has been cyclical. Every time we return to this place, I am forced to kill you, bringing about a great reset. He weaves through the universe as cunning as an Ahamkara, ensnaring us in this purgatory. The galaxy pools connects both realities. This place with the gap in the European dead zone.
Now you must be one shitty negotiator if you had trouble getting through to me. If your first thought was a bullet, then you must really be losing it. What could you possibly have to gain from killing me? You're shooting a man who literally only has the clothes on his back. Look, if you want an LC Bray poster, you could have asked. I would have shared. Alraaks? You want Alraaks? You can have them.
It was because of him. The orchestrator of our torment. The deal that was struck with Del.
Del? You're joking.
The deal we struck, allowing the lightless Titan enough strength for that final push, was nothing but a deception. It seemed as though the terms were harmless, unnecessary gamble, but the real goal was meant to imprison us, split us down the middle, and cut us off from influencing the world beyond. Del's motif is one bathed in dark reincarnation, the same loop that he put the Titan into. Even now, he shadows our every step. Del made the lock for the doorway a complex one. Took two of the most stubborn parts of us to divide, knowing it would be hard for us to walk away from a chance to fix the damage we did, and allowing only one of us to pass through. If we both agreed, you, the one that retains your humanity, and I, the realization of our killing potential, given form, will, given a weapon. To lose either side would be catastrophic.
That doesn't explain the corpses. Why wouldn't you go through? It makes more sense to allow the one that can fight to fix things out there.
You don't understand. I can't empathize. I can't hope. And I've forgotten what it means to fight for something other than survival. If I lose myself in combat, everything devolves into a target. It's all part of his plan to mold us into whatever he needs. If I get out and can't hold it together, he will only add another lightless killing machine to his arsenal. He would become unstoppable. I grow restless and weary of the restarts, and I realize that I am unfit to pass through the barrier. lest we assuredly fail.
You know I won't make it. What if I need to pop a fool with a glicky? What then? We're trapped, forced to play his game until what? One of us snaps and either you get out and can't control yourself and shoot Zavala in the nipples, or I get ripped apart playing hero. That clever bastard.
You're the only one who stands a chance.
When we got jumped by the Fallen, and they almost... no savior.
We are forced to once again take a necessary gamble. Hopefully this time, it plays out. The stakes are higher than ever. This whole time he's been honing the lightless titan like a blade. In a world without the light, the lightless will rise. This time I've made my decision. All we are doing is wasting time while he takes dominion over everything. You must continue.
Just like that? After how many rounds you turned me into a sacrificial lamb, you're just gonna call it quits?
It's not quitting. It's realizing that the board needs to be flipped. We've played into his hand for too long. We need to throw away the deck and get our own cards.
Say I did go, and you? What's your grand plan? Fade out down here? Once he takes notice that things have changed, he'll unleash the things that have been following us on you, and they'll rip you apart.
You'd be foolish to think I can't hold my own. I'll resist his influence as long as I can. Perhaps without his chance at turning me or you as the prize, we can finally see what the boogeyman fears.
You're talking about a suicide mission. Squishy, you need to go through.
No, I'm talking about a distraction. Just enough time for you to slip in unseen and fix things.
What if I can't do it? I couldn't even finish White Gear Duality.
Look around you. Your echoes linger in this place as well. Look at all that you've done. White Gear Deepstone, White Gear Prophecy, White Gear Witch Queen, and White Gear Bit of Heresy. It's all there. In your mind and in the stars, you forgot yourself along the way. But you and I are the same person. Two halves of the same whole. Search within, and you'll remember.
White Gear Duality, my muse, my undoer, and my obsession. The challenge that broke me down and reforged the very fibers of my being at the molecular level, over and over and over again. Now I had honestly thought that it would not be possible, that the durability of the armor couldn't hold it together as White Gear Duality unleashed the whooshy fingerhold and blasted my self-esteem into the stratosphere.
What are you gonna do, big guy? Shit on me?
Don't tempt me.
There are few things that elevate a player to the next level, few things that guarantee your right to ascension as you mantle the steps of glory and duty until you achieve perfection. Few things that I hold in as high of regard as White Gear Duality. I knew what had to be done, but no matter what I tried, I was unable to figure out the steps I needed to take, and that found its way to wane on me, dragging my spirits down, and I took much of it personally, as all I dreamt about was crafting a story and creating a legacy, and to be denied the ability to do that was damn near debilitating, especially as a creative person. I give my blood to my craft. Heart and soul is all I ever had to give, so I had to make sure I had a fucking lot of it. But this was something different. To deny me my purpose was to drive a stake through my heart, cut right through the armor, and without that drive or ambition, I found myself becoming apathetic. Even though it is stupid for me to think about a game leeching its way into my personal life, gifting me with the thoughts of being a failure, of not being good enough, and forcing me to spend most of my time daydreaming, wondering if I could even do it, if I could ever make something that made everyone around me proud. There was still a glimmer of hope. There was a time that being forgotten was all that I feared. One of the reasons this channel actually started was because of that fear of death. I remember saying if one person remembers me when I'm gone, then I'll have done what I could, and that's all that I could ever want. I wanted to do so much more and create so many beautiful things, and all these failures did was unearth bad bad memories. But you know your boy, sulking, is for fucking schoolgirls, so I knew what needed to be accomplished to free me of my very own personal hell. And as it is written, we are all called to carry our crosses, lest we be crushed by the weight of them. So what do you say we stare down the devil once again? Because oh yeah, you better fucking believe it, it's reloading time. It was time to channel the power of all three of the classes in Destiny. Cringelord, Femboy, Autistic, you gotta float like a hunter, sting like a titan, and strategize like a warlock. No longer was I gonna be slipping like the old folks home when I stole all their wet floor signs. This is White Gear, Grandma! And this was during Season of the Deep, when I finally returned after defeating the Ghost of the Deep solo flawless. Uncle Bungie decided to be merciful for once in their lives and give Papa the ability to gain suckies. They took off the weights and unrestrained the raw, unyielding power of an Arc Warlock. Arc Warlocks are, in my opinion, the most fun to play. There's nothing like slinging enough blinding light to match the Red War's blinding title screen. But during this season, there's a mod that took nearly everything that was killing me and suplexed that bitch, whispering into its ear, "You will torment the Hot Wheels, Papa, no further." There was a mod that made it so that when you're amplified, you can take significant damage before it starts to hurt. When amplified, you become nigh unkillable, as long as you are conscious and aware of your surroundings. Come on, I said hit me, not tickle my balls. Come on, I said hit me, not tickle my balls. Come on, I said hit me. I can't fucking... I gotta stop trying. Much like an elevator, we were only going up. It was a pretty uplifting experience, but you know your boy, since he's scared of elevators, he has taken steps to avoid them, and actively utilized Strand to try and defeat this dungeon. Strand solved one of the two issues that I was facing. One was mobility, but the damage was subpar, and the resistance was even worse. With the Arc mods and Arc 2.0, I was beyond elevated as my resilience reached new heights, and my damage skyrocketed because of my little buddy. Beautiful little bastard! Come to Papa, Daddy's missed you! And with those two problems solved, as I've stated before, the gameplay was much the same. Only this time, it was fucking on. Because the game was harder with my garbage gear and mods, but I still managed to pull it off. I was now a honed weapons expert, top of the class. In order to increase my killing potential even further, I took the sexiest color scheme known to man and slapped on that Hot Wheels Jesus blue and orange, supercharging me like a Dragon Ball Z character, watching their friends die. I had the goddamn hyperbolic time chamber, came out and started slinging hands. Despite his best efforts, Galran could do nothing as I rolled in to deal death at an impressive pace. He even tried to cross blades with me. Could you imagine the audacity? Can you believe it? Blow a load in this guy. I mean, get a load of this guy. And what previously took hours of fighting in order to knock Galran back into the pits of hell where he spawned from, in only 35 minutes I was able to show him school textbook math as he finally found out what happens when John has 3,000 watermelons and he adds 20 more. Only the watermelons are replaced with bullet. I took him to Daddy Pound Town, population 1, and got ready to head into the vault. With the added resilience and killing potential, I was unstoppable. The humble Nasruddin is an arc weapon. The stay away grenade launcher is an arc weapon. And the arc subclass has a perk that causes enemies to explode when killed with arc. It was a nasty combo, and it was straight vile what I did in that vault. I unleashed devastation, and by the hour mark, I moved on to Keitel's boss room. Now Keitel was what worried me the most. She is insanely tough with a lot of power packed into everything she does. You only have a split second when her damage phase begins to kill Bellkeepers and secure your damage against her, lest you fumble the damage phase like Canada fumbles affordable housing. The enemy density is massive. There are Cabal Incendiars that will physics you off the map, and even with the added resistance, you need to be damn near perfect in order to pull it off. I hesitated before I started the fight because I knew I would need to be on my A game. It was time to reload my batteries, get my spirits up, and get ready to fight. Everything went smooth as I fought like a demon, but eventually all that killing power and manly expertise eventually ran out when I went to claim the banners in the Nightmare Realm. My health nosedived as I ran across the field to the other side to claim yet another banner. I killed the Scion and tried to cower in overwhelming masculinity, but this Cabal Colossus, an absolute beacon of the Cabal army. I had true warrior, much like Galran, cut from a different cloth, unveiled the meaning of the word persistence, as he just kept firing as it took cover, hoping to nail me. I mean, just look at this shit. Well, I thought it was safe, as I had a superior angle. I had the high ground, and this fucking egg can't do anything against the high ground. But he went on to showcase why quitting is never an option, as he curves the fucking bullet wanted style around the ledge, and it gives me an express colonoscopy. You know, I gotta commend him for the effort, as I would have tried to reposition, but he also managed to utilize the method of banging your head against a wall until it breaks. And lucky for him, it kinda worked. I ain't gonna lie. Alright, baby, round 2. I didn't hear no goddamn bell. Besides the ones that I've been ringing. Those don't count. Like a doctor in the US when a patient doesn't have insurance, meaning that I become a merchant of death. I suck the fuck out of Galran. I'm like the Mr. Beast of Destiny, but instead of giving out hundreds of dollars worth of goods, I buzz around your head shooting you in the cabals with the worst weapons known to mankind, and then steal your pack-a-punch chastity belt after you've been deleted from the timeline. Yeah, that's right, you can call me Mr. Least, I'm actively taking shit. The only thing I did was refine myself, honing my skills until I became nigh unkillable. Little improvements started adding up as I went further and further beyond. Before, it took hours to defeat Galran, and then it took an hour, then it took 45 minutes, and now, with the stars aligning, I felled the giant at 25 minutes. The vault met much the same fate, being beaten at 50 minutes, meaning that this time I was finally at Keitel in the sub-hour run. All that momentum, though, was cut short when every cabal in Keitel's boss room during a damage phase decided to harness the power of friendship to defeat the god enemy and fire at me all at once, completely breaking through my armor, arc resilience, and rift healing factor in one combined single shot. Ooh! Now, my fellow Destiny Masters, what's the greatest mystery known to mankind, other than if the One Piece is real, and will Star Citizen ever release? That's right, it's a question of why does God give his mightiest grenade launchers to his most brain-dead soldiers, as after fighting through the entirety of Galran's sex chamber and unlocking the secrets of the Callous Mindscape, I finally managed to get a damage phase off on Keitel. But because I too am a warrior cut from different cloth, you're gonna get sick of me saying that, a beacon of the Guardian army, I do what every Guardian must do, accepting my rite of passage, as I point blank myself with a grenade launcher. This was an hour and a half run. Why is it every time I do a White Gear, there's gotta be a pivotal moment where I've been ages becoming a god in combat, whittle away hours of my life, get that glimmer of hope just to fall prey to my own. Everybody in the community gets so hyped up when Bungie releases a new heavy grenade launcher. In Destiny, I've done a lot. Stood against overwhelming odds. I've fought like hell, and I've learned and adapted, but nothing could have prepared me for what was to be White Gear Duality. I made so many mistakes along the way that it felt like recovery was all but impossible. Like no matter what, I wouldn't be able to do it. Stand above the rest. But your boy is either stubborn, stupid, or just doesn't know how to die. I like to think of it as a combination of low self-esteem and a give-em-hell attitude, but I don't know what happened, or where along the line everything just clicked. So many things broke, didn't work as I watched Duality flatline my goals and ambitions, old yellering my fragile ego. But one thing I do know that remained consistent was that no matter what, I kept on trying, because even when things seemed impossible, I owed it to myself to keep going. And I never said or thought that I was anywhere close to being the best, because in all reality, you don't have to be. One thing I've always preached on my channel is rising to the occasion, being the one to stand up when no one else will, to fight for a brighter tomorrow for the things that you hold dear, the line in which the darkness breaks. But there's always a dark side that they don't tell you, and I'll be damned if your Hot Wheels papa isn't the one to teach. They never tell you that these things don't come easy, and that the road is long and arduous, that you will face days where you're broken beyond belief, and it seems like no signs point to heaven. If I've learned anything over the course of my life, it would be that you need to roll with the punches. Because, brother, you're guaranteed those punches are a-coming, and that you only fail when you give up on yourself. I've seen good men and women with so much beauty and talent to give the world put their heart on the line and watch it get ripped out when things don't go their way. But the real tragedy only happens when they don't come back to try and realize their dreams. Everything else can be forgiven. And I've seen it firsthand in Duality. It happened to me. Everything was stacked against me, and when I couldn't even get past the first boss room, I gave up and thought that I wasn't enough. But just the fact that I stand here in the boss room, staring down Keitel is a testament. So much learning and failing upwards were required to even make it to this point. Galrat straight up beat my ass for almost 3 months. 3 entire months! I'm gonna once again say something that people like us don't ever get to hear. If what you're doing out there isn't good enough for anyone else, despite you giving out your best goddamn effort, well then, it's good enough for me. So what do you say we strap into our bright pink neon moon boots, don our Hot Wheels color scheme, die a ton to Galrat, fall off the map twice, rack our Kvostov, sharpen our humble Nasruddin, bang our head against a wall until it breaks, and kill us an Empress. I dive into the fray of Keitel's boss room, fighting with tenacity and vigor, utilizing everything I've learned over my colonoscopy that this dungeon has been hand-feeding me since Season of Defiance. I was the cataclysmic event. The death I was slinging was brutal and efficient. Despite clowning on myself and consistently getting obliterated by mental degradation or blowing myself up because I can't be trusted around heavy weaponry, I was fucking unreal. Even though I've been given the blessing by Bungie to go forth and have no fear as they unleash me upon the Cabal with mods that give me a significant boost, as if Blackburn himself reached down from the heavens that he resides on and said, "Suffer no more, my child," and then whisked me away on his mustache. Bring it back, Blackburn. Who cares if the wife don't like it? I'll be your wife. You would need to be perfect in order to walk away with a victory. There were many times where my health would drain to almost nothing, and by the skin of my dick, I would just manage to walk away. But thanks to the Arc class and the mod that increases super damage while amplified, allowing my chaos reach around to not deal less damage than a hunter using a fucking hand cannon and wearing some sexy boots, I was finally able to actually hurt this beast. Now to say this dungeon's final boss was tough was an understatement. Something that requires perfection as you spend 10 minutes getting to a damage phase just to whiff all your potential and return to the killing field where any slip up is a restart. I took everything I learned and whittled Keitel's health down, and somehow at an hour and 42 minutes of sustained perfection, realizing that when the going gets tough, the tough get coming, I planted my feet, felt the air sparking as the Chaos Reach took hold of me, and extended my hand to deliver the conclusion to my torment. The electrical storm from within, riding the freedom I so desperately crave upon the voltage, signaling that I beat duality with only White Gear.